The broadcast, checking the equipment. Checking the equipment. Let's see, first one coming through here. Hello. God daily damn's going on here. I got no sound or what? Alright, I got sound. Alright, so I'm gonna go over what I almost had a heart attack over last night. This is dealing with the VirtualBox. Basically installing the latest version of VirtualBox at Oracle into SuSe Linux 42.3 is going to cause you some freaking problems. And so I figured out how to solve that problem with the help of other people. So the basic deal is is that OpenSuSe 42.3 Leap, hey, the lost kill joke, what's going on? Comes with Linux kernel version 4.4, and well, you won't be able to run VirtualBox 5.1. What's up, Amiga? You will not be able to, do that if you have only kernel 4.4. There's a patch out, but it's only for kernel 4.12, so you have to add a repository to your OpenSuSe, and when you add your repository to OpenSuSe, what ends up happening is that you're able to install kernel 4.12, you're able to apply the patch, and then you're able to actually load the drivers so your virtual machine will start. But then you have a problem every time you reboot. It wants you to do the VirtualBox driver configuration every time for some reason. At least with the vanilla kernel that I have, that's packaged at the OpenSuSe build service. So you have to actually add a 4 lines to a file called we call it virtualbox.conf. You want, you call it anything you want, and etc modules /load d. And if you do that, your system will survive a reboot and be able to automatically load your virtual machine. Now, the problem is, though, it is very slow and skipping for me. Sound? Crap. There's not much I could do. It depends. If you have wireless on your end, there's not much I could do. And this end, I should have enough bandwidth, and if there's nothing else going on, there's not much I can handle. I try the best I can. I can try to check it out over at YouTube, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. It usually comes out okay, so I'm sorry if it's doing that. So anyway, so it's a little scary to uninstall your the kernel that comes stock with SuSe. They're probably not going to be patching it, so kind of what you lose is the patches coming from SuSe. Some of the updates. But what you gain is the ability to use a newer version of VirtualBox. Now, if that's important to you, you should do that. If it's not, then you shouldn't. And I gotta get myself a soda. It's stupid. I just started earlier. Alright, so I'm going to go through the steps that I had to use for this. This is really a really technical, like, narrow use case kind of presentation. I can't even take guests. But if anybody wants to watch, of course they're welcome to. But you may lose interest. I mean, unless you want to stare at some dude with sunglasses and on. So, but everybody's welcome here. Okay. So the first thing is SuSe packages their VirtualBox differently than Oracle does. They repackage it. If you want to use Oracle's version, first of all, you have to have the repository. which they only actually have the repository labeled. I'm going to close it out and get back in. Okay, we'll try. I mean, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'm glad it. And it will be up on YouTube, and I'm hoping it will be saved fairly well at YouTube if it doesn't work for you. Okay? I'm hoping I'm helping out. Maybe this might be something you're interested in. Alright, so the first thing, you can add a repository for that Oracle hosts their software on. You get a choice between using SuSe's let's see, SuSe's packaged version of VirtualBox or Oracle's. The thing about Oracle's is that the source code for compiling the necessary kernel module is included in their package, where it's not when it comes to SuSe Linux. So if you get an error and you don't have the right kernel version for SuSe Linux, it'll say run this command vboxconfig, and you won't. You'll try to run it. It'll say the file isn't there. There's another file called let's see if I can remember what that is. But in general, this, I believe the SuSe package version assumes that you're using that you're going to use pre-compiled modules that the SuSe project, OpenSuSe project, has made for you. And so that's why you don't have the script to be able to, and the source is not there either, to be able to compile the module, which is actually not useful because you may want to compile your own module. And in this case, the combination between SuSe 42.3 and VirtualBox, let's see the exact version of this thing, 5.1.26, results in you're just not able to use it. And then it gets kind of scary. And then you go over to, and then after that you try the SuSe packaged version, and it won't run. Boy, it starts to get really scary when you get 7 desks that need to load Windows tomorrow morning at 8 hours from now. I'd never be able to get this done this quickly. I'm going to have to go to each desk. It's going to take a while. Alright, so I'm just going to go over the other sudo driver load command. This thing, RC vbox drive setup, is included with the SuSe distribution, but I don't think it really does anything. Alright, so I have Oracle's version of VirtualBox, and this used to not be an issue. I think that SuSe, now that they're trying to sync up with Enterprise Server very closely, they're not. The latest stable kernel version at kernel.org is 4.12. Right now, it's shipping with 4.4. And so there could be some problems that arise because of that. Alright, so this RBbox setup would stop the kernel. It says it stops the kernel services, it's going to compile the module, blah, blah, blah. And it actually does attempt to build it, but I'm going to go to the directory where the source is. And what I had to do was, one, add the repository for the stable kernel that's housed over at the SuSe Linux build service. 2, I had to download a patch that was in some forum somewhere. I don't even know who made the patch. I don't even understand the patch because I don't know how to program, but I know my stuff ran. And I don't know what any of this stuff means, but this is the patch. I know what a patch does, but I don't understand the programming language. And then after that, you have to make the driver, and then you have to mod probe it. Okay, and then you have to set it up to do that on reboot. And then you can run this RC vbox setup, but I didn't find that it made those modules stick. Okay, there may be a way to get it into initRD, but I haven't figured that out yet. Or the RAM disk that loads when you first load your system. Basically, you boot your system, it loads a RAM disk, then the RAM disk loads drivers, and it passes control of the system over to the kernel. Okay, so first thing we do is let's look at the repositories. Where did I get this kernel? I had to uninstall my old kernel sources. I added the vanilla kernel sources, and the repository is it's at download OpenSuSe.org repositories /kernel:/stable standard stable/standard. Okay, so I added it, and then I enabled it, automatically refreshed. Okay, what package did I install? In case somebody needs, I'm doing this because in case some might need to know this. It's going to take forever to load all the repositories. I believe it's just called kernel, 412 get something or other, but I'll show you exactly which one it was in the short time that's available so people can reproduce it and solve their problem. Now, I did find that VirtualBox 522 did run, but I'm having stability issues at these different desks. So here is the source for the vanilla kernel. I'm going to go if I sort it by its version number, because I know. Then here's the kernel vanilla and kernel vanilla devel. 4.12.4.1.1 G2A 27BF2, whatever that means, is the version that I have, and I did all three of these. I didn't just do the source. I included the source, but once I installed this kernel vanilla, Grub automatically made this the default, and when I went to make modules, it actually made the modules for this version of the kernel, even though I have a 4.4 installed on my system as well. I'm not sure if I can boot from it or if I want to. Okay, so after that's in place, what's up, Ty? The next thing that I'm going to do is going to go to the directory that has the source, or I'm actually going to want to download from the site that I found this from. Let's look at my history. Because, I mean, this isn't up at Git. This is just, this was a patch I got off some forum. This one might be it. Because you try to, it won't build. People are having this problem here. I gotta find where that was. This form here. Seduction.com. I never thought I would say, hey, get your patch from this forum, but this is it. Hopefully they'll build this in. And where's that patch? It's this file right here. Pasteseduction.org, basically. They say we get that thing, and I'm pretty sure it's probably in my history. And it's so confusing with all these different things. I did not use systemd to load my module. I used the etc modprobe d. I mean, there's so many fucking ways to load modules. You know, now I can't even tell where you're supposed to actually do this from. All right, so did change the user share VirtualBox source. VirtualBox host vbox drive. We look at that file. Damn it, where's my patch? vbox drive Linux. cd Linux. I think it was, actually here it is. It was just in this directory. I'm going to concatenate that. So basically this is the patch. And then the command to run to patch that thing, if I can find it. So I downloaded this file. I basically used wget. I changed directories into this as root. Wget this paste.seduction.org /2017 0629003423. Then I use wget to download it, and then I use some patch, this patch command, patch minus np0 less than 2017 062, the name of this file basically. And then it automatically changed the code for 3 of 4 of the files. And then I had to manually insert the patch lines for one of these files. Because slightly different versions of code change had been made, and I think that was on the what the hell file is that? This last one, memobject rodrv linux.c, which is in going to browse over there. Ooh. All right, well, we're okay. I don't know what that is. I hope I'm not getting a bunch of weird errors because I'm using kernel 12. That's not where I want to be. I want to be in user share, vbox, way down here. VirtualBox. Source, there's the patch right there. Actually, drv or this is whatever that is. Linux, and this one called memjob. Of course, these are object files. These old sets. These are all object files. So I should just make it this one here. Memobject R0drv Linux C. I don't remember how to make patch. Maybe I'll. But if I make a patch, who am I going to give it to? So I had to manually insert. And the way you manually insert patches, just in case you don't know, so you look at the contents of the file. Where's that patch file? Let's just go over this right now because it might be useful. So in this file called, some people know how to patch, some people don't. So, or how to deal with the patch that doesn't work. So this is the file memjob. That name matches this name, right? And what it's saying here is at line 899, okay, look for this stuff up here and then add the things with the pluses and then just insert it. So the original file has pte_t, p-entry, none of this stuff's there, and union. And the object is to insert these lines with the exception of the pluses. And if things don't line up, if the line number's changed, or you try to figure out where it would go. So I'm going to look for, I could look for the line number, but if the patch doesn't apply, you know the line number is missing. So I'm just going to try. I might find more of these. And it is going to be somewhere around, you can show line numbers in KDE, it is going to be somewhere around where it said it would be, right? So here it is. So I had to add this stuff here to there. So it ends up, this snippet of the whole thing looks like this with the exception of the pluses on the left-hand side. You want to insert all these things. So you're looking for somewhere around 917, where it's got this kernel version, comma 2611. trying to figure out where this stuff matches, and it's a little tedious. But maybe that's it. This was a little goofy. This is a little bit screwed up. It was a little confusing to figure out where this goes. Not even sure if I actually added that. It's not even in there. Wow. So that part I didn't even add. Hey. Alright, so anyway, it's still built. It works. But you do actually want to add all the lines, like I didn't, to the original file. And then you might, before you do that, make a copy of the original file and call it .rig, in case you want to make patches. Which, it's been a long time since I've ever done anything like that. Then you just want to build. So, I think this directory has a make file in it. No, it doesn't. Which one of you do? vboxdrv. Make. And then if it does an error, that means it worked. Then you go make install. It might be make modules install. Maybe that's why I'm having the problems I'm having. Nope. Just make install. Now I think the other script does the same thing, but I haven't bothered looking at it, and I want to make sure the modules actually build. At least when they're in the right place, I know I could mod probe them. Then after that, you want to do the RC vbox web, whatever this thing, set up, make sure everything loads. And from that point on, you'll see that your stuff will load. And then after that, you want to make your etc. modules DL. Just browse over there. Modules load D. This thing here is the thing I made. That I just put the name of the module there, and that makes sure it loads. The solution's always simple like that. The problem with Linux is you never know which one it's going to be in this distribution versus the last one. And there's really, you don't know why things change or whatever. It's some political argument between nerds. Now there is a bug report over VirtualBox about this, and basically it just has to do with whether the drivers, the source code for the drivers will have been compiled or been made to be able to compile against the version of the kernel that you're using. And if it hasn't, well, it just ain't gonna work. And there's a blog post at Web Update about this. And assuming the module's actually compiled, this method will work. It's called the workaround for sbin vboxconfig. It's a good blog post, but the only problem with it is if the modules don't compile in the first place, which is what was happening in my case, because I was using too old of a kernel, basically, or SuSe was. It'll never, just the modules will never load, actually. Now, the folks at SuSe do take the time to compile the modules for you and package it. I guess they're trying to avoid this problem from taking place in the first place, but I haven't really had a problem with Oracle scripts being able to compile modules. I'm a little surprised that they do that. And the situation I was in before it was confusing because I was expecting when I had the OpenSuSe version installed, I'd be able to just run that script and everything be okay, and then it wasn't working. Then I revert back to Oracle, and then it couldn't load the driver, and I was tearing my hair out because we need to have our virtual machines running, so we do our work around here. Yeah. All right. So that's it for that. That's what I'm going to talk about. So the patch was in a very obscure place. It's not really hosted. Git, again, the patch is located at this paste bin for this seduction.org. Put it in big letters. I don't even know what that is supposed to be. Not too fancy. You can't really change the font. Anyway, I don't want it. Alright, so that's it. So I'm going to still have to talk about right now. I'm going to stop this one, then maybe I'll do other broadcasting things, but right now. This was about solving a problem that I had my hair tearing out. Wait, what are you doing, fam? Nice thumbnail. With WTAF. Fam. Now I'm doing VirtualBox. Alright, but I better finish this one.